A 170-kilometer city in the middle of the desert. Most people said it was impossible, even dead. But in 2025, new evidence shows something very different. When Saudi Arabia first revealed the line in 2021, it honestly sounded like science fiction. A city 500 meters tall, stretching 170 kilometers straight through the desert. No cars, no roads, and powered entirely by renewable energy. From the very beginning, people around the world asked the same question: can this actually be built? Fast forward to 2024, and those doubts only grew stronger. Reports suggested the project was being heavily scaled down, and many assumed the line was quietly failing. But in 2025, new drone and satellite images tell a different story. Construction is still happening, just not in the way most people originally imagined. So what's really going on? Welcome to History X Videos. The line is the centerpiece of Saudi Arabia's NEOM mega project. Its goal is simple but radical: redesign urban life from scratch. Instead of spreading cities outward, the line stacks everything vertically: homes, offices, schools, and entertainment, all inside a mirrored structure. In theory, this reduces pollution, travel time, and land use. At full scale, the plan was to house up to 10 million people. Supporters called it revolutionary. Critics called it unrealistic, expensive, and even dystopian. And as time passed, reality began to catch up with the vision. Despite all the criticism, construction officially began in 2022. Drone footage showed massive trenches being carved through the desert, heavy machinery working non-stop, and entire worker camps appearing along the route. For the first time, it became clear that the line wasn't just a flashy concept, it was real. But by 2024, the financial reality hit hard. Building the full 170-kilometer city by 2030 was simply impossible. Why the line was scaled down? Costs started spiraling out of control. Estimates for completing NEOM in its final form reached a staggering $8.8 trillion. That's more than many of the world's largest economies. Around this time, NEOM's CEO and several top executives were suddenly replaced, signaling a major shift behind the scenes. Officials later explained that the line was always meant to be built in phases over many decades. In practice, that meant focusing on a much smaller and more realistic first step, what's now commonly called the mini-line. Today, construction is focused near an area called Gayal. This first phase includes 3 massive modules, each about 800 meters long and 500 meters tall, adding up to roughly 2.4 kilometers in total length. Even at this reduced scale, the project is enormous. One of the most eye-catching features is the hidden marina, a fully artificial waterway that cuts straight through the structure. Early concepts placed it on the Gulf of Aqaba, but it's now clear that it will be connected to the coast through man-made channels. Excavation here has been ongoing since 2023. Module 45 is already seeing concrete work, with deep foundation piling well underway. Module 46 is the most advanced section. This is where the hidden marina passes through the building and where the NEOM Stadium will be built, about 350 meters above ground. Just this phase alone requires more than 16,000 foundation piles. Module 47 is still earlier in development, but excavation is clearly active. To keep all of this possible, engineers have installed a massive dewatering system. Pumps, pipes, and channels constantly remove groundwater from the site, sending it all the way to the Red Sea. Without this system, construction simply couldn't continue. Beyond the line, NEOM itself is taking shape. The floating industrial city Oxagon now has visible harbor structures, while wind farms, roads, and new worker camps continue to expand across the region. So what does the future look like? Let's be clear. A 170-kilometer line by 2030 is no longer realistic. But that doesn't mean the project is dead. Saudi Arabia is betting everything on this first phase. Even at just 2.4 kilometers, it's one of the most complex engineering challenges ever attempted. Experts believe this initial section alone could cost up to $370 billion. And construction isn't the only challenge. The real test will be whether people actually want to live there. If Saudi Arabia can attract hundreds of thousands of residents and make this city function as promised, then, and only then, does the rest of the line stand a chance. The line has evolved from a bold fantasy into a real-world experiment with enormous risks. The vision is smaller than originally promised, but the ambition remains massive. Whether it becomes the future of cities or a warning for future planners depends on what happens next. So what do you think? Will the mini line succeed? And will we ever see the full 170-kilometer version completed?